Welcome one and all to another Spooktober video. I hope everyone is having a happy October. Thank you for joining me for another ranking keeping to the seasonal theme. Today I'll be ranking the Crow movies from worst to best, so best we just get into it. In fourth place is The Crow, City of Angels, released in 1996 and directed by Tim Pope with a screenplay by David S. Goyer. It's the second installment in the Crow film series and sees the spirit of the Crow resurrect another man seeking revenge for the murder of his son. They wanted to make it like the first film, but it isn't. Yeah, it has similarities, but they're stupid similarity choices. There is nothing to like about this movie. It's just a god-awful film and story. Even trying to tie it to the first film was dumb, and I'm sorry, but I've enjoyed Vincent Perez in many things, especially Queen of the Damned, but he was dreadful in this. And I think it's unfortunate that this was Tui Chang's last film before she died. It seems like she only did this to change her nice Power Ranger image, but it was just bad. Even the whole Sarah thing was just stupid. So much of this was stupid. This film felt like far less of a film about the Crow and much more a film about bondage, porn, and torture. But is that really shocking when you consider that most of the choices made for the film were made by the producers, and the producers were the Weinstein brothers? In third place is The Crow, Wicked Prayer, released in 2005 and directed by Lance Mungia with a screenplay by Mungia and Jeff Most and Sean Hood. It's the fourth installment in the Crow film series and is inspired by Norman Partridge's novel of the same title. In this film, on his way to becoming an immortal demon, a gang leader orchestrates the murder of an ex-con and his girlfriend. It isn't the worst Crow sequel in my opinion, but it sure as heck ain't the best. Just some directions in this film that were a bad idea, like a really bad idea, and culturally it is a mess. Christianity, Satanism, not even the real kind, Native American law, all brought together for a shitstorm. Are the cast meant to be Native American or Mexican? Because every time someone refers to someone as being Native American, the character is played either by someone who is Mexican, Moroccan Canadian Jewish, or Kiwi. I will say this was, despite the quality of the film, a good time period for Tara Reid because she had her problems. There are things I like and things I don't, but the reason it's not last like I'm sure it would be for some people is that I have this fascination with any type of depiction of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and so whenever I see them come up, it's really fun for me, and so that was an additional selling point for me and why, despite its flaws, I did enjoy it, plus I love David Boreanaz. In second place is The Crow Salvation, released in 2000 and directed by Bharat Nalluri and written by Chip Johannesson. It's the third installment in the Crow film series, and its plot is loosely based on Poppy Z. Bright's The Crow, the Lazarus Heart. In it, Alex Corvus returns to the world of the living to solve the murder of a young woman that he was wrongly accused of. This is probably the only sequel in the franchise that I really enjoyed. It has a really great story and I enjoyed how it played out because it's not just about revenge, but it's about the character trying to figure out who killed his girlfriend and framed him. Alex is an innocent guy who is framed for the attempted rape, I can't remember which one it is now, and murder of his girlfriend, and is given the electric chair. I had a good time with this one. I love the journey of him trying to find the real killers and then learning about this seedy underbelly in the police force and just law enforcement in general. Kirsten Dunst co-stars in this, and I liked her character because she's someone who believed Alex was guilty but slowly becomes his ally when she realizes she was unintentionally involved in helping an innocent man die. Did not enjoy the soundtrack though, but seriously, why did these sequels include so much bondage porn? What is that about? I know The Crow had some weird kinky stuff. I mean, it had rape and incest, but it never felt like it glorified it. These sequels revel in this stuff, and it's uncomfortable and unnecessary. And in first place, I'm sure most of you saw this coming, is The Crow, released in 1994 and directed by Alex Proyas and written by David J. Sho and John Shirley, based on James O'Barr's comic book of the same name. It tells the story of Eric Draven, a rock musician who is revived from the dead to avenge his own death as well as the rape and murder of his fiancée. I was never familiar with the comics, but I never tire of this film. Just an incredible film with a gripping story. It's brutal and relentless and confronting, but through the pain and violence, there's a story about finding peace. The score to this film is incredible. It's tragic, but at the same time, it almost sounds like I don't know. If I had to describe what it sounds like, it's like when the clouds part and the sun comes out, but in music form. It's a tragic film, only made more tragic when you reflect on how Brandon Lee died due to an accident on set, and this was his last film. I hope wherever he is, he found peace. We missed out on an amazing career from a talented actor. I think they did an amazing job at still being able to piece together a coherent and brilliant film, even with limited footage of the lead. Very clever using stand-ins when necessary. They really made it work, and in a way that you felt Brandon was present for the entire film. It felt like we really followed his movements the whole time, and so it feels like an amazing tribute to him and his life and his talent. And there you have my ranking of the Crow films. It's so rare in my rankings for the original film to not be put first. It's almost always going to be the original in first place because I feel it's so hard most of the time to improve on perfection or the standards at the very least that the original set. But some franchises sure do try and some even succeed. But now that you've heard my thoughts, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below and tell me how you would rank the Crow franchise. Thank you to everyone for watching. If you want to enjoy more Spooktober content this month, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you as always to my amazing patrons who got to enjoy this video before the rest of the world. For now, I am out, and in the meantime, stay spooky.